we've got the next, which is about the process. You've got production, you've got control flow, tasks, operations. So then you again need to understand where the problems are, where is the leakages, where is the waste happening. So that's where we really need to understand the aspects of what is the flow, overall flow, where is the waste, where is the waiting time, if there's a waiting time involved, where is this happening, and how we can cut it down. And that's where we need to ask the questions. This is what I call as the 6 best friends of all of us. We need to check with what it is, the who, why, when, where, and how. So these are the very important questions we should try and ask. And I guarantee you that if you get the answers for these, at least you will have about 30 to 40% of the understanding of the overall system. Then you can try and propose the solutions better. And this is good for anything and everything in this world. So let's try and have a quick look at this in the context of the picture. So let me try and divide this. So we'll have, let's say, I'll call this as what. And then we'll have who. Then we'll have why, when. The order is not important though, but this is just my way of writing in that order. Let me try and use what. The reason why I'm using a green marker is because it's very important for an analyst to understand the what, to start anything with the question what, because it's all about the functionality. It's about the functionality, it's about the features, it's about the things. You need to describe that something as what it is. So that's where we have different things like features, stories, epics. In general, you can just call, I'll say example, in general, we can call it as requirements, not necessarily can have tasks. So I would suggest as business analysts, we all start in understanding anything, given anything. If you are given, for example, a huge system to collect the data about customers and create a customer relationship management system, start with this. If you're given a task of being a team member in a huge enterprise hospitality management system, trying to create a system for all the restaurants and the outlets, I would suggest start with this. It's about what is the thing. It actually also talks about, give the context. So what is the existing context, or rather current context? And then there's another context that we're going to talk about later, which is about the proposed one. So I would suggest you start with the what. Then the most important next is the who. And this is actually about the people. It could be the stakeholders, the customers, it could be the users, it could be the team members, it could be people who are both internal as well as external. Internal, external to the particular product or organization. It could be the usage of the product. It could be anything to do with the people involved. And that's where the who is. Who are going to get affected? Who are the people currently using the product, for the people who are going to use the product in the next few years to come? So it's all about the key stakeholders, that's what we call. So you identify them as stakeholders. So as we discussed, it could be the customers, it could be the users, it could be our team, it could be other stakeholders. It need not necessarily be always about the people. It could be about organizations, bodies, associations, companies, all of this. It's basically a unit. So it could be, for example, the FDA, or Food and Drug Authority of US. It could be the Bank SEBI, for instance, of India, which is the controlling body of all the banking and financial services institute. All of those could be the who aspect of it. And then the important thing, other important that you also need to understand is the why. This is actually the kind of a logic, right? It's a logical question. Basically, this is functional. That's about the people. This is about the logical aspect of understanding why we're doing this. What is the rationale? What is the motivation? For example, it could be the motivation of why we are building a product, or the problems with the existing one, or Is it because we moved from one technology platform to another technology platform? Or is it because some of the competitors already have these features, so we've got to use these as well? So all of these put together is the why. And then when gives you the kind of a context. So it actually gives you the time, duration, schedule, all these things. It could be tasks. It could be the people, the kind of scheduling, for example. Again, could give you the context of when in the life cycle, when in the context of this particular application usage or the user's lifestyle or the workflow. So it could be the workflow. So example, in the context of the workflow of the users, when does that fit in? Is it in the beginning? Is it in the later? Is it driven by an event? Or is it triggered by the scheduler? By something else, by an external thing? So all of these come into the when aspect. And then comes the important things about where. So where is this happening? Where is the supposed application being used currently or going to be used later? So it's about the location. It's about the environment. So it's not just only about the location, it's about the environment. Some people might be carrying these applications, people are on the field. If so, they're on the move. So that in that case, how can we support that? It's not just somebody sitting in front of a computer, but this app is going to be used by, for example, the people who are delivering the Amazon parcels, for instance. So how can we support that? How can we actually support the people on the move? How can we, for example, if in the cold countries, in the winter, it gets really extremely cold. So they might be using gloves all the time. So how can we support this application, that usage of gloves, for instance? So all of these need to be thought about in that context, the environment of usage. So it's also about where in the life cycle comes in. So it's basically about the life cycle aspects of where this would really fit in that context of overall usage of the application. And this is the most important thing from the point of view of not the analyst, but the development team. That's how. So how is about the implementation. It's nothing to do with the problem identification, but this comes after the problem is identified, or after the problems set are identified, and then they're prioritized, and then they're actually listed in terms of the priority, and then you actually come up with a solution or a series of solutions or a list of solutions that would help address the problem at hand. So it's basically about this. And how we as BS can help in this one is basically by working with the team in recommending, and then in also trying to implement that, the final recommended solution. But never be under the impression that a business analyst is supposedly the owner of a solution recommendation. We are not supposed to be the subject matter experts in terms of developing a solution. Rather, we are the subject matter experts in terms of working with the teams in trying to identify what solution is the best one, best fit, considering all these aspects. And then that's where you would talk about the aspect of the platforms, the technologies, all of these come into picture. But of course, you need to work with them. You need to know all these. You need to be able to actually understand the lingo of the development team so that you can actually try and work with them. So that's where I would say that a business analyst need not be technical, but the business analysts need to be tech savvy. They should be able to understand the technology, understand the lingo, the language, the terms, and also the terminology.